Hey everyone, in this episode we're going to take a look at Mission Impossible Fallout. We're going to take a look at the action, the characters, and the story to see if this was truly the best Mission Impossible in the series. All that and more in episode 62 of the Reel-ists Podcast. Team Reel-ists, thanks for tuning in. I'm Oscar.
I'm Donald.
And we have our producer, Ruben.
Hello.
Lubin.
Lubin. We'll call him Lubin now.
Oh, that's funny. Yes.
Maybe we'll call him Prubin. Like producer Ruben. Prubin.
Does he approve? I think we have to get his approval on it. And we have Prubin over there.
Just haven't given him a new nickname in a while. Lubin. I like Lubin though.
You had all his. I mean, that's the nickname for the day. You've had a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a few nicknames for him.
I'll try to keep some more coming.
All right.
I'll try to get creative again.
That did go away for a little bit.
Sorry.
We got so much demand that we wanted that to bring that back. Let's
bring it back to what this episode is really supposed to be about.
But yes, thank you everyone for listening to this episode. We really appreciate it. If you're a first-time listener, we hope you enjoy this.
Welcome.
Okay.
I was just saying hi to our new listeners.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for listening. Yes, so we're going to be covering Mission Impossible Fallout.
Ow.
We're going to go into spoiler territory, so if you have not seen the movie, you know the routine.
Pause it. Go. Oh, no. That's not the routine.
Let
the episode play while you go watch the film. Come back and
rewatch
it.
Just help us out, that's all.
Help us with our numbers. Come on.
And then comment on us. Comment on our video on YouTube or on social media, iTunes, wherever you can. We'd love to get your feedback.
Absolutely.
On your thoughts of the movie and just anything you want to share with us about our podcast. We absolutely appreciate it, and it helps us.
We do. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So with that, I think that covers everything. So we'll say without further ado, let's go into the nitty-gritty and talk about Mission Impossible. Now, as always, let's do a quick thoughts. Donnie, what you think about this movie?
So I had not seen the 5 movies prior to this one. So I'm just blindly jumping right into this story of Mission Impossible. I was apprehensive at first because, like I said, I didn't see the other one. So I was like, I might be lost. A, and B, I do like action films, but sometimes I feel like if it's too much action, I get bored. Or not even bored, but I get so overstimulated and desensitized to it that it's it does nothing for me. So I was a little weary. No, not worry.
No, weary.
Weary. I was a little weary going into this one. However, right out the gate, this film hooked me. It was entertaining. It was explosive. It was, for sure, an action film. If you are not into, I won't even say that because I do like action, but I'm not a huge action. Oscar, you love action film.
I like action films.
That is your genre.
Well, I like the thrillers ones, not necessarily like a gun showdown. I'm not really that
right.
Fan, but the thrillers.
Action adventure.
Yeah, exactly.
Adrenaline ride.
Yes. Well, they got 5 minutes to save the world kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. So, and I do like that to a certain extent, but this film just did it for me. It was great. The cast was great. A lot of famous faces: Tom Cruise, Alec Baldwin, Angela Bassett, Henry Cavill. Is that how you say his name?
Yes, Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. I think. Rebecca Ferguson.
Simon Pegg.
What's his name? African American guy. Vin Rhames.
Oh, I don't have his name.
Vin Rhames or something like that.
Yes, Vin Rhames. Yes, you're correct.
And others. Those are just the ones I can name off the top of my head.
Did you say Sean Harris?
No, I did not.
Okay. Westbound.
So the cast was great, and there was just so many just twists and turns, and I love when a film keeps an audience member guessing and not quite sure about certain characters, and this film gave that to me. I didn't really know who I could trust or who to believe, and when I thought I had something figured out, we would take a left turn and realize that I was wrong. I was on the wrong trail, and it just kept surprising me. It just was great. It was a really, really good film. I was really, really surprised at how much I really loved this film. So fun. Such a great ride.
Yes, absolutely.
Not saying it was the perfect film, but it had a lot of great things. I know.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I really liked it. It's my favorite out of the series so far, and it's really funny because it's like for each one that they do, the biggest stunt, it's like you think like, oh, it's just gonna do another crazy stunt, but the movie's not gonna be as good. But the stories actually stay good. And I've seen the series, so it's like it's just nice to always see that the next one is still doing well. It's not like they're like, it's not like not episode, that's Star Wars. It's not like, the third one in the series, was like the highest, the peak, and then after that it just fell flat. Like they've been managing to do like fun ways to keep this franchise going and yet still keep it its own thing. It's not becoming, too James Bond, or it's not becoming, any of those like big name, action stars like Jason Bourne or anything like that. It's still remaining its own version of that. I will admit, I don't see it as a character. I see it as Tom Cruise in this like universe, like, trying to save the world. Ethan Hunt is the name, but I feel like you still associate Tom Cruise first. Like you don't get the character. Like the character name doesn't stick.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I just think of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's just Tom Cruise. But yeah, it's definitely I think it is actually my favorite of the franchise. And I don't know, maybe a little bit to an extent is how I see this movie, because I saw this one with you who has never seen the franchise, and then we see it with my cousin, who has seen a few. So we like all of us had an appreciation of this movie.
We were all kind of looking at it through a different lens, I guess, too. Like I had no background information. You have seen everything up to date. Daniel had seen a few of them, so it's like kind of brought a different lens to each of us. But yeah.
Yes. So that I definitely give it a thumbs up. Just as a quick synopsis, in case someone is in the dark and doesn't know what this is. Mission Impossible Fallout is Ethan Hunt and his IMF team, along with some familiar allies, race against time after a mission gone wrong. And that's very, very, very basic. Yeah. That you can say that for all of his movies.
Was that for the newest one, or was that for like the second one? That
actually was like the first one. That's on IMDb for his latest one. Okay. But generally, this one is more about having to recover bombs that can be used as nuclear weapons against the villain that first came on screen in the last movie, Rogue Nation. So that's the breakdown of it. We have a new character, and that's Henry Cavill. Now I'm messing up the name. Henry Cavill. Man, I should really. I was like, all right. I was like, that's Superman to me. How can I mess up his name? But yes, Henry Cavill. See, there you go. It's gonna stick. It's gonna stick. Everyone, don't worry. Yes, he's doing he brought his very fun character. We're going to spoiler territory, so if you haven't listened to it, this is your last chance. But great villain. Yeah, great villain. He definitely was a villain that I felt like not necessarily was going to win, but still had a good competition. Like he was very good at, one, pretending he was a good guy, and two, almost getting away with his plan, or the big evil plan.
And so when we were or I don't know, maybe afterwards, right after we walked out of the theater, I said, I liked his character. I said I was a little disappointed that he ended up being the villain, because in the beginning of the film, that him and Ethan Hunt, they butt heads. They both want to kind of be like the leader and in charge, but they kind of have this rapport after a few minutes of both of them. They have this kind of rapport that they kind of go back and forth. And even though they don't necessarily like each other, I was thinking that it was going to go more in the direction of they're going to work side by side, and they're going to do great things together, regardless of if they like each other or not. Like they may piss each other off and rub each other the wrong way, but they need each other to fight the greater evil. Right. So I thought that's the direction we were going to go in. And they had this nice rebuttal for a little bit, and kind of jokey, kind of sarcastic, jokey kind of thing. But it ended up him being the villain. So I was like, dang, like I guess that was only my one disappointment. Like I wish maybe somebody else was the villain, and they could have stayed kind of teaming together and working for the same side. I
mean, he was the villain that didn't get away either. Like it would have been fine if he was like, he was able to get free because he gave Ethan Hunt the ultimatum of like save the world or stop me kind of thing. But no, they straight up killed him. And then It is a sad one. He
Did I say rebuttal?
Yes.
I didn't mean to say rebuttal. That was the wrong word. I'm sorry. What I meant to say was they had a banter. I don't know where rebuttal came from. my apologies. Was not using the correct
editing
word there.
on the spot.
They had a banter. They had a back and forth that I really appreciated.
Yes.
In the beginning. Sorry. I wanted to clarify.
But no,
that.
it was a nice new character. The last character that Tom Cruise had that was kind of this kind of level was Jeremy Renner's character, but he was a good guy, and he didn't necessarily challenge Tom Cruise. It was more of, I've done a lot of things just as much as you have, so we're on the same terms of like we think of how we can stop the big bad guy versus like we don't get along. It was kind of like we know we don't get along, but we have a bigger mission and we respect each other. So it's kind of like it was already what you were saying kind of was almost like already done with the past character. Mm-hmm. Which would probably be why they made that choice. They were like, we need someone that can be just like that but evil. So maybe.
Yeah.
I do want to ask because you are new to the franchise and I've seen some of the other ones. Well, I've seen the other one, should I say? So to me, it wasn't a big kind of like, oh my gosh, but a lot of the twists that they did.
Yeah.
And your general reaction was, I can't. Like you're just like, I can't. Like it was.
Yeah.
Like they kept coming up with another twist, and you're just like, no, my gosh, what?
And I'm already like a sucker for twists. Like you throw like the most basic twist that anybody else could have seen coming miles away, and I'm just like, nuh-uh. Like that's just how I am. I don't see things coming.
Did that stand out to you in that sense? Do you feel like because of that, you felt like this movie was a good movie, at least one that you appreciated more?
Yeah, I did. I mean, even the first one, I think it was the first one when they visited that one evil guy in the hospital room.
Yes. They tricked him.
And they tricked him, and like everything was a simulation, and then we come to find out he was in like their custody.
Yes.
I was like, my jaw dropped. Like, so I mean, that
was before the credits.
that was before like the opening, Mission Impossible thing. So I love it. I loved it. I love when films do that because it keeps me so into it. And like I said, I don't know. I think I have a hunch of what's going to happen, but like for me to not see something coming and it just like out of left field just like hit me, and then I'm like, I love it. I don't know. I love that because predictability in films is. There are some times when you go to a film and you want the predictability, you appreciate the predictability.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a film like Ocean's 8, like how it was.
Yes.
We wanted them to get away with the heist, and they did, and we were like, thank God. But this film, I was like, I hope it keeps me, guessing and wondering and pondering, and it did, and I love that.
Yeah, there was a lot of moments that were played out and you're just like, okay, it's gonna end here.
Or I just wasn't sure how something was gonna end. They're in a situation and I'm like, how the heck are they gonna get themselves out of this? How is Rebecca Ferguson's character gonna get herself out of her situation that she's in? How is Ethan Hawke gonna Ethan sorry Ethan
actor.
I know. My bad. How is apologies to Ethan Hawke, we're great fans, love your work. How is Ethan Hunt gonna get out of his situation, because what was Henry Cavill's name?
His
name. Remember?
Let's look it up. I don't recall from the top of my head.
Well, anyways, when he was kind of painting Ethan Hunt to be the bad guy or to be the real
August Walker.
So when August Walker was like kind of making people turn on Ethan Hunt and making him seem like he's like that one mystery man that nobody knew.
Right, yes.
And I didn't know. For a second, I was like, he might be. I don't know. I don't know who to believe. Oh, my God.
You get a sense that he was the bad guy when he went to Angela Bassett and he was like, I got the phone that has all the information.
Right,
and
yep. There was some foreshading there.
Yeah, and it was not damaged.
The wrong phone.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, you're just like, oh no, what does this mean? To me, I really still love the twist. If you see the other Mission Impossible movies, you know that this movie is all, like the series is always about making you be like, there's nothing else they can do. Oh, how did they get away with that? No way, that's so lucky, or that's so fortunate.
I mean, I guess like hence the name Mission Impossible. So
absolutely.
It's like they definitely live up to it. I mean, I haven't seen the other films, but this
never,
one absolutely did.
But never did it feel repetitive where it was like, Oh, this is the part where Tom Cruise does. This is the part. Oh, yeah. Now he's gonna pretend he's dead. Oh, there you go. Okay, now he's gonna come back alive and say, like, it was never the. If you watch the series, you don't get a lot of repetitiveness, and that's really amazing. It's like each one still feels like it's a challenge, and it's kind of. I mean, I'm not saying that this is how they make them, but it feels like they said, "What have we done?" Because we're not going to do that again. It feels kind of like that. I mean, as a story, yes, they're always going to have the same beats of, the bad guy implements the plan. First attempt to stop him fails. Like those, those beats are always going to be there because that's what you need as a story arc. But you still get a genuine new way of stopping the bad guy, or the process goes differently. Because in this one, it was about making sure that they can get these, bombs versus stopping the bad, like actually capturing the bad guy.
Yeah.
And even in this one, it wasn't even Ethan Hunt that stops the bad guy. He stops August Walker, but he doesn't stop the main bad guy, the one that was like the mastermind behind all
the
of
one
it.
who was in custody from the beginning and then got
who was in the last one.
Yeah.
So yes, so that was different. Like he didn't even stop that bad guy. In the last one, it was all about stopping him. So like that's kind of nice difference. I do wonder if you do see the series, if you go back and watch any of the other ones, if you kind of going to be like, you know what, that did not top Fallout. I don't know if Fallout's going to be a high standard for you.
No, I kind of.
Or if the other ones can still just be like, what, he did this, or that was a nice sequence.
I think I'll be into it because I'll get some backstory and some fill in the blanks that I may have unknowingly. Not that I feel like I have a ton of them, but there were a couple. I asked you a couple questions like, oh, were they from the first one?
Yeah.
Was
right.
that his love interest, or so I mean, I would get some.
You'd see the initial meetings and the encounters, so that would be nice. It would be just a very interesting thing to see, because I've seen the other ones. Fallout overall was one of the better movies out of the other ones. The other ones had great sequences, like Ghost Protocol, the fourth one in the series, had that great Dubai scene where he was climbing like through the building and he was like super, super high, and they filmed that in IMAX. So just imagine that scene. And it's like, that was just one where just like, it's breathtaking because you're just like, I don't think I could ever do that.
Right.
And the fact that it was Tom Cruise doing the stunt, like not like, this is a green screen and everything below him is fake. This was him literally on the building climbing up those,
He's insane.
And the last one, he was the one hanging on to the airplane from the side. So it's like a lot of those things were just like,
nope.
Those were his stunts.
I couldn't do it.
And I think that is also an appeal, is that when you go see this movie, you're seeing Tom Cruise doing these stunts. You're not like, oh, this is a movie. This, they called cut right here and they replaced him. Like the full stunt goes through.
Yeah.
Like the whole Paris sequence, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really nice.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And what I loved about some of the sequences is they didn't muffle the scene with all this like background music and like they could have easily put some very dramatic score with the scenes. But instead, we heard the sound of the cars driving and the tires screeching and horns beeping. Like, we just heard the sounds, the natural sounds. And I appreciated it so much because in action films, you kind of expect, like, cliche, dramatic music at certain moments. But this one, it really allowed the scene to just be, like, what it was naturally. I really, really, really appreciated that.
Absolutely. I did, too, because it was nice. Because you're into the scene. You're not enjoying the car explosions and the twist and the turns of the cars. Like, you're really in.
Like, it's like I'm not relying on music and score to guide my thrill and my emotions on, oh, this is how you should feel at this moment because we're playing the music really loud. It's like I can just sit back and watch this scene happening
have that
organically,
genuine,
and it feels even more real because it's not like movie magic. It feels like I'm really watching something that's really. I mean, it is happening, but it adds more realism to it.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
I feel like I'm just gushing about this. I really liked it. I really, really did.
But it's not perfect, as you said.
I mean, what film is? Like, I'm sure I had. I mean, did you have any problems or anything where you went, I didn't like that, or
I mean, it's kind of tough. To me, as a sequel, I always have I know it's a sequel, but I feel like the movie should still make it something that people can still come and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine if this one was just more reference to like the past ones? Like if every scene was just like, oh, this is Mr. Walker, you've seen him, blah blah blah, and it's like it was just like, it felt like you sat here, and you saw these characters, and you still have. I mean, to some degree, yes, if you've seen the other ones, it helps you expand the knowledge. But to me, it's always a question of, I want a sequel to be able to stand on its own as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying this just because it's like the best example or anything, but it just comes to the top of my head. A lot of people can see The Dark Knight without having to see Batman Begins.
Right.
The Dark Knight Rises, not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to be like, oh, I think I have to watch Dark Knight. But this one, you can clearly see. It's that kind of sequel. It's like, I always wanted a sequel to be able to stand on its own without making you see the first one. The first one's going to be insightful. It's going to help, but I always have that.
Or what our producer says, like there shouldn't be a prerequisite to go see a film, right, Ruben? Correct. He said correct.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like that. True. I like when he says that. There shouldn't be that shouldn't be a prerequisite for me to go watch this film. He always says it so like intensely.
In the same way, you don't have to go read the book, to go see the movie. The intention is to see the adaptation. Exactly. It's that kind of thing that I felt. But this one, just because there were so many characters, it's tough to be like, oh, I know you've seen the last one, but let's pretend you haven't. So this guy is, a friend, and he's going to specifically be like, I'm your friend. Like, I don't want that either.
Yeah.
So, but it was tough because there was a lot of characters that have been in the past movies. So it's kind of just, if you know the relationship, because I can assume, like, you probably be like, any of these people might turn on him. But if you've seen the other ones, you can kind of be like, they wouldn't turn on him.
Yeah. So like maybe, I mean, I didn't know because I'm like, anybody can be, against him.
Exactly. So that's kind of
I ain't trusting nobody.
The one thing that I would say, it didn't land perfectly, but everything else, it did hit the right beats. It just didn't. It's a movie you still can watch on its own, but you will have questions that you hopefully are watching with someone that can answer it for you. In that regard, that was my kind of flaw, so to speak. But everything else, beautiful. The actions.
I really loved
the plot, the twist.
Yeah. I want to say I really, really liked the fight scene with Henry Cavill, Tom Cruise, and the guy in the bathroom.
Guy, yeah. He wasn't even a bad guy. He was like the middleman.
Or he was the middleman. But I thought it was just it was choreographed beautifully, and it made me think of like when I saw Atomic Blonde and how the fight sequences in that film was so beautifully just choreographed and looked so real. It made me think of that.
John Wick is another one that's a good one. That's just like very well choreographed.
Really, yeah, and that's another scene where we didn't get we didn't have this intense, booming, pounding background music. It was just we heard them fighting, blows being thrown, glass shattering. We heard it, and I loved it. It's giving me chills thinking about it. It was good.
Yeah, it's definitely one that you can rewatch and just enjoy the entire length. It's over the 2. I think it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes length.
Yeah.
But I knew this going in. I was like, it's not gonna feel like that.
No, not at all. And it didn't drag. I wasn't checking my time like, all right, when is this over? I'm done. I was not. I was like hooked. I was into it. I was like, I need to see this play out. I have to see what happens. So that's great. And it's hard it's hard for even a film for that length. It's hard to do that. It's to keep like an audience engaged.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where it's just like, okay, how much time is left? Oh, 45 minutes. Okay, I can do this. It's kind of generally the feeling and what right when you get close to the 2 hour mark, you're just like, okay, how much time is left?
Yeah.
So, but this one, yeah, absolutely. This one kept me locked in, and to some extent, I didn't want it to end, but at the same time, it was like, all right, let's not lose any good things from it. So,
right.
But yeah, no, I absolutely really enjoyed this one. It's like overall, it's my favorite. But yes, maybe the action sequences didn't top some of the past ones. But
okay.
So, what was a favorite scene? I mean, you mentioned a few, but is there one that maybe you didn't mention that you want to include? Because I have one.
There were so many. I'm like, what do I even? If I had to pick one that I really, really liked, I mean, the helicopter. Even the helicopter.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, that was like so cool. I mean, that was like, and I'm afraid of heights, so watching it in a big theater was like, kind of had me nervous. Even though I know as I'm watching a film, it's like it still makes me nervous to see something on the big screen when they're really high up in the air, and to see them like trying to crash into each other and shooting at each other in helicopters, like, whew, it was making me nervous, but that was a fun one.
Yes. One of the beginning action sequences was the flying out of the plane in the storm.
Oh yeah, when they jumped out of the plane.
Yeah, I was like, I want to do that. I can't do that. Nope. It's a storm. Like, call it off.
Yeah.
But no, that was just to get into this club party. And that was just like the beginning of their mission. That wasn't even like...
I know, that wasn't even like the climax of the mission. That was like, this it's just something we have to do to take the next step,
Crazy. But yeah, it's definitely one of the tops so far. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that it delivered. I felt confident in it when it was like first announced and the trailers were coming out. I was very confident in this movie. It was
That's probably like
my most anticipated.
That's probably the trailer we done seen the most this year. Like,
that's true.
I mean, we've seen a lot. We've seen that trailer well over 20 times, I'm sure.
Probably, yeah. And it delivered. I'm very happy that it delivered that. So, with all that being said, let's give it a real score now. So, what are you going to give it?
I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh.
It just hit almost every note that I needed it to hit. It was adventurous. It was a ride. It was a thrill. The acting was good. I mean, A-list actors in this film, they were all like just all stepped it up. You know, it had funny moments, it had endearing moments, but most importantly, it was an action film, and it gave you action, and it gave you good action. It didn't give you like, you know, crappy or like cliche or like predictable action.
The Paris sequence is one where it's like it could have gone a very simple route, like, oh, it's just a car sequence, but this one, it was nice. It was just a tad different. I don't know if it was a setting necessarily, but I just felt like the entire sequence from getting the bad guy to dropping him safely to like, well, now I gotta evade the cops. Like, it was just a nice sequence.
It flowed.
It flowed really nice. Yeah, and his escape, like his like getting away with it.
Oh my god, I know. Like I mean, and like I said, my jaw was on the floor for half the film. And I left, and how it ended, I was satisfied. I was only upset that a good guy died.
Oh yes. R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Alec Baldwin's character that I don't remember from the top.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but yeah. So for those reasons, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I would watch it again. I would recommend it. I mean, hey, I haven't seen the first 5 ones, and I don't feel like I needed to go watch this film,
which is good.
And I feel like with asking you, I asked you like maybe 2 questions, maybe 3, but I mean, I caught myself up to speed, you know, and it was great, you know.
Yes.
I loved it. I liked it. I want to buy it.
Oh. You gonna buy a digital for me?
I just might.
Nice. That's very nice. You bought La La Land for me, so.
The one out of like 500.
You know it's a Donnie favorite. It's a Donnie favorite when he buys the movie for you.
What are you giving it?
I think you probably know.
5.
I'm giving it a 5.
Ooh.
It's a really fantastic film. That's the 5 sound.
Like a siren.
It was really just a fantastic film. Even though that I said the one thing that was kind of like a flaw, it doesn't affect me because I've seen the other ones. So it's kind of like an asterisk, like when applicable.
Yeah.
I'm going to start saying that, when applicable. But it really just delivered nice. I enjoyed the beginning to the end. It had the twist that kept it engaging. It had the characters that you understood who was good, who was bad. There was a few questionable ones, but if you paid attention, you kind of be like, oh, no, actually, I think this person's good. No, that person's bad. You kind of pick up on those things. And it does what it does best in taking a task, and you're just like, that's crazy, and still not even necessarily making it believable. This one, there's so many things you can be like is not realistic.
Yeah, I mean, plot convenience,
right?
Here, but
there's a lot that has that kind of.
But we ain't paying attention to
that movie magic, and you allow it to happen when you kind of see. When you feel like it's been thought about, like it's not like a last second, like, oh, how do we do this? Well, let's just say this character was here the entire time. It felt like it was a genuine, like it felt like their plan was being executed as planned versus it was improv kind of thing. Where improv realistically is where you start to be like, you know what, that wouldn't really happen. With this one, I could be like, I could see this happening, because they plan this, and all the movies that they have, they usually have that kind of plan. There's a few of them where it goes wrong, where they have to, well, all the movies technically go wrong, because that's why it's a task Mission Impossible. But yeah, it was really nice. And it was great to see some new characters. Angela Bassett, Henry Cavill's character were nice. It's good to see that there's a conclusion to the bad guy. So hopefully the next one, I'm sure there's going to be a next one. It do something even more interesting.
Yeah.
It broke the box office records for the series, so that's always a good sign as well.
Okay. Sweet.
So it really did well, and I'm very happy it delivered. It's like it was an anticipated one, and I was hearing there was some kind of the trailer didn't really do it for me kind of talk from people, but luckily when the movie came out and you see it, well worth. If you have to pay for your ticket, it's well worth paying for that ticket.
If there's a movie this year that I would have to pay for, ticket wise, I would have paid for this.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I definitely think whether you have Movie Pass, AMC Stubs List, that's one from Century Theaters, or you don't have any subscription and you just buy tickets per movie,
right?
For sure.
Let that one be your July selection.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's one summer blockbuster,
that was a summer blockbuster.
I'd say that got the summer blockbuster stamp approval, for sure.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. So hopefully everyone that listening to this episode, you agree, you disagree, we want to hear it all. We want to hear what your thoughts were. Was there anything that you that you feel was great? Mention it to us. If we missed out on talking about it, there's so many things you can talk about this movie. We just wanted to. I know
we couldn't cover it all, so if we missed anything, you let us know.
Absolutely, yes. And you can do that on any of our social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Team Reel-ists. That's Team REELISTS. Or you can do YouTube on any of our episodes, or on iTunes as well if you want to just give us an overall review of our show. We hope you enjoyed this one. We hope it was a fun one. We hope we'll see you next time, because we truly, truly, truly are up for the task of delivering. I'm just trying to wrap
our mission,
it
up. If you should so choose to accept it,
is to listen to the next episode of the Reel-ists Podcast.
Sweet.
This episode will end in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone.
See ya.